Module 5, this lecture talks about the effects of stimulation, early learning experiences on motor development. You've probably heard about the nature versus nurture debate. The question is human nature a function of heredity or the environment? Plato stated that we are products of our heredity, that the soul entered the body at birth with existing ideas that reside in the soul. Medieval Christians believed that there were pre-existing ideas which emerged in the form of a homunculus, otherwise known as the little man. And the homunculus maintained residence in your head as a source of knowledge and innate evil. Locke said the environment was critical in shaping behavior. He coined the phrase tabula rasa, or blank slate. Said that the slate was gradually filled through our interactions with the environment, but that as newborns we were a complete blank slate. Most agree that nature and nurture interact to produce behavior, and that's how it develops. Another debate in motor development is programming versus non-programming for early childhood development. Non-programming includes programs that do not emphasize specific practice of future motor skills through developmental exercises, special equipment, or motor activity. The Emmy Piker National Institute for Infant Care and Education in Hungary advocates withholding instruction until the infant learns body control, suggests leaving infants on their backs until they're able to change positions, place toys near the child to stimulate movement, but don't hand them to the child, and they advocate non-restrictive apparel, such as no shoes. Programming involves parents taking an active role in moving the baby and the baby's limbs, encourage fitness and flexibility, and encourages the use of infant walkers and bouncers, encourages special equipment such as cushions, dolls, balls, hoops, and other kind of toys to encourage movement. The Prudent Infant Fitness program is used at home by parents from birth to 6 years age for about 15 minutes, 4 days a week. There's motor programming and play designs for infants and toddlers as well. You're probably familiar with Jamboree. It's a one-day program for 5-year-olds. The intent of the program is to assume that preschoolers need to be provided with certain types of play activities that are believed to be essential to development, but are not readily available at home, the playground, or the nursery. Question is, does Jamboree attain its claim? Claims to show improvement in balance, fundamental motor patterns, changing modes of locomotion, socialization, and free imagination expression. However, to date, there's no research to support these claims. Other motor programming and play designs include swim programs, but there's little evidence that children below 1 year of age can be taught swimming skills. Children 3 to 5 years are capable of demonstrating independent propulsion skills. There are some health issues surrounding infant swim programs. One is the whole intent of drown-proofing. If you've checked on YouTube lately, you might have seen some videos of drown-proofing. But with the research at hand, this is not actually something that can be taught. Hyponatremia is water intoxication. Also, Giardia is a parasite that develops in cysts in the intestinal tract. They suggest that you prohibit instruction until about 3 years of age. Warmer water and air temperatures are more appropriate since circulation is an issue. There should always be adult attention within an arm's reach when any kind of swim program, and individuals should know CPR. There's also the Suzuki's violin method of instruction. In this, the infants and children, children for Suzuki, listen and play method to teach violin. So at 2.5 years, the child begins violin lessons if they request it. They discourage competition with peers. The effects are unknown, but some of the children in the program succeed and others cease interest. You've probably also heard of the Head Start program. This was created to give financially disadvantaged youth a head start in education, boosts their intellectual, social, and emotional behavior. We do know that the graduates of Head Start program are 10 times more likely to complete high school than their peers who did not. However, the academic advantage that was gained early in is lost as early as grade 4. I'm going to talk a little bit about playgrounds in Ohio. Let's first talk about playground safety. The surface areas in playgrounds should be hard surfaces. If they are hard surfaces, they are low maintenance and they have a high injury rate. Hard surfaces are cement, asphalt, stone, that kind of thing. Organic surfaces have a high maintenance and low injury rate. If you're going to use organic surfaces such as mulch or pea gravel, you need to have 6 inches of material and it has to be screened, specifically for anything that could fall in it during use, such as earrings, pens, bottle caps, anything like that. Outdoor equipment should focus on physical activity. It should not have sit and ride machines. It should have minimal moving parts for safety, because hoods and cords and other pieces of clothing can get caught in those moving parts. It should stimulate creativity. We should have upper body development, lower body development, balance skills, and sport skills all addressed in the playground. I'll show you the playground card for Ohio. Okay. National Institute of Playground Safety looked at the playgrounds in the states in 2000 and again 2004. And the overall grade that we received in 2000 was a C+, and 2004 was a B-, so it improved. And they looked at things such as supervision, age-appropriate instruction, fall surfaces, equipment maintenance, playground equipment profile, and the kinds of equipment. We did improve, still a problem, as far as I know, has not been looked at again since 2004. Okay, you were to read a playground article, and the thought here is should have a discussion about the play equipment, how can it be used to promote childhood development and the affective, cognitive, and psychomotor domains. It's something you probably want to think about. You put a discussion up on discussion board and talk to peers. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is traditional task analysis. When you are teaching skills to individuals, traditionally we use a task analysis. And traditional task analysis breaks tasks into smaller teachable steps. We do this through something called chaining, which breaks a task into individual sequential steps. We can do forward chaining, teach the first step, then the second step, then the third step, or we can do backward chaining, teaching step 10, step 9, step 8. An example of why you might use backward chaining is, at one point in time I was working with an adult with cognitive impairment who needed to learn how to use a bowling alley. It was one of the things he chose to do for physical activity. I'm going to date myself a little bit here. Payphones were in existence, and they were still using coins to get on the city bus. So even before we could get to the bowling alley, we needed to teach him how to get to the bowling alley. Before we could even teach him the bus route, the first thing we need to do is teach him how to use a phone. How did a payphone work? So we could call the bowling alley, call the bus company, find out when the routes ran, when the bowling alley was open, how much it would cost, all those kind of things. So for him, we started with making a phone call in a phone booth. So instead of teaching him the first step, which would be come to find the phone booth, and then congratulate him for finding it, come back another day and teach him step 2, find the phone booth, pick up the handset on the phone, step 2, go away. That would be kind of boring, and there's really no motivation. He still doesn't have an understanding or a reason why to use the phone. So we did by backward chaining, and I didn't really start with step 10. We started with step 9, which the most interesting thing about using a telephone is to talk to somebody. And honestly, my memory is fading here. I can't really remember exactly who to call, but we'll just say it was Mickey Mouse. I had a number. He was able to call Mickey Mouse, talk to Mickey Mouse. So we started with step 9, where the last thing he had to do was push the last digit on the phone out of the 7 digits, or the 10 digits if we used an area code, or 11 digits if we pushed a 1 first if it was long distance, and I have no recollection. but he would push that digit and then he would say hello, have his conversation, and then he would do step 10 with assistance and hang up. The next time we went, he was quite excited about talking to Mickey Mouse. So I did the first few steps. He pushed the last two numbers, picked up the receiver, had his conversation, had assist hanging up. So each time we added a step, but we did it in a backward chaining in order to get to the motivation aspect of it. Here's an example of a back float task analysis. So if you start at the bottom, the 4 things they needed to learn first were how to place the head on the shoulder of the teacher, look into the eyes of the teacher, make a big belly toward the ceiling, and relax, sleep on the water. Once they had those 4 things down, and we practiced them all independently, try to put them together, and then we get to the next step where the teacher supports the student's body on their own arms, and then the teacher reduces support, and then they work to back float without support for 3 seconds, and then finally back float for 5 seconds independently. So you can see each time something makes it a little bit more difficult. There's a number of other task analyses for you, motor task analyses that are posted with this audio lecture.